Greetings and a very good morning to you. Welcome to Wings of Libra, a place to rest your wings and uplift your spirit with guidance from the fairies. My name is KP and it's a blessing to be here with you. All right, let's fly right into our fairy wing reading for this morning. Okay. Fairies, what can you tell us Libra people today? What can you advise us to be at our best? What can you give us to uplift? Okay, thank you. Wow, so with us right here we have a collective of pixies. Can we have a couple more, please? Thank you for what we've been given so far. We have two more, please, at least. Oh. Okay. And one more at least, please. Okay. Thank you, fairies. And at the bottom of the deck, we see the Topsy-Turvets. Okay, so with us at our side today, giving us advice is a collective of pixies. This card reminds us to do anything that we are doing in a lighthearted and merry way. So with this being here and considering the recent tarot reads of late, especially for this coming week and starting today, it sounds like a lot of us are getting things done. Maybe some of us are doing things we've never done before, but these are things that are going to take us into the next chapter of our lives, and they are things that must be done. This is telling us to do everything that we have to do with a light and merry heart, that it has to be done, so we might as well be merry about it, because when we do things reluctantly and put a lot of that energy into it, the results are oftentimes not quite what we would want. But if we do things happily with a light heart and approaching these tasks in such a way, will help us bring things that we want in a better way that we actually want. So for example, I don't mean to be a little vague there, but okay, so we can make a game about things, and we can take an attitude that makes it demanding or oppressive, or we could see it as something boring and dull, or we could see it as something that frightens us, or we could see it as something, all of the above. But if we go about our tasks in a lighthearted way, then it not only gets us through it easier for us, but it also brings results that are going to have a different energy about them than if we were to do things in other ways that aren't carrying forward like a merry and lighthearted energy. So even if we have to do things like maybe some of us have to seek legal help for some reason, and maybe that's something that's been weighing heavily on us, and it's not something that's comfortable, it's something unknown, we might as well be merry about it. We might as well speak to whoever we have to speak to honestly, calmly, as merrily as we possibly can. Here in the inverted position and now righted, we have Tatan the Sylph. This Sylph is oftentimes here and there and at places wherever ideas are being expressed, wherever debates are taking place. She likes to listen in. She likes to give people ideas, and she has a lot to do with quickness, mental synthesis, discernment, When she's in the inverted position, though, we might have been maybe having a lot of different thoughts about things and we weren't sure what direction to go in. Maybe some parts of us wanted to react to situations out of an emotional place, but these might have permanent results. Maybe some of us know we have to act from a logical place, or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe some of us feel that we intuitively are being guided away or to a situation, but on the surface it doesn't look like or sound like it's a good situation for us. This would be for you to discern for yourself. She is the fairy that has not only the ability to align with quick thoughts and cleverness, but also the ability to discern what is important and what are thoughts that are just taking her away. When she's in the inverted position, though, then maybe sometimes we might be tempted to be petty. So if this is the case for some of us, then this is advising us not to do that, not to allow ourselves to be petty. This is reminding us that out of conflict and confusion, resolved by goodwill and clearer thinking, a new and better understanding will come. So coupled with this here, we have the collective of pixies reminding us to go about things happily, merrily, light-heartedly, and here we have her to remind us to be selective, to discern what we're giving our attention to. And as quick as our thoughts may be arriving, a lot of us are receiving some clarity, it seems, then we will be wise not to allow that to take us to a place of, okay, we have all these thoughts now, and some of them might not be the best kind of thoughts. Maybe some of them are petty. Let's not act upon those petty thoughts. Let's act upon the thoughts that will help us resolve everything through goodwill and clear thinking to arrive at a better understanding for everyone. Here we have the Master Maker. Which is interesting also. Look at the number. I believe it was Kyle of Cups that someone I've just come across recently as far as the tarot readers was shocked to see the 2s, and I chuckled to myself because I thought, wow, Audrey from Sacred Libra had already called out seeing things in doubles, and then another tarot reader that I'm not sure if he watches her, but he confirmed it in his own reading, which was just like yesterday or something, and then now we have this here with the 2 2s again. But the Master Maker is, interestingly enough, supporting the collective of pixies. So yes, go about your work. There's a job that needs to be done. Do it as merrily, as lightheartedly as you can possibly bring forth out of yourself. And then the Master Maker suggests, then do it even better. So with the Master Maker here, he's telling us to do whatever we do as well as we can, and then to make it even better, because he's reminding us that our very best work is always desirable, and in the present situation, it is necessary for success. In fact, he asks that we surpass our previous best. He reminds us not to cut corners and not to take the easy way. Whether making a thing or fulfilling a concept, be sure that your designs are elegant, pure, and functional, and then follow it, attending to every detail in its turn. He says, design beyond your skill and then raise the level of your skill to fulfill it. Give and accept only the best and do it with the love of your craft, whatever that may be. So this card is speaking of long-lasting achievement, creative problem solving, and confident action. It may suggest cooperation with others, especially from a place of responsibility or of teaching one's craft to others. Success comes from practical application of traditional principles in life and in work. So with this being here, I find that very interesting, because it being Monday, and it being the beginning of the week, and it being this opening of a new time for us, the stepping into the new world that we've created for ourselves, it sounds like a lot of us might be doing things or unveiling projects that we have been keeping secret, or maybe we're having to go into a new job or a new position in life that we aren't sure about because we haven't been here before. We might as well do it merrily. And we will be wise to keep the discernment there so that we can tell, like, okay, all of these things are coming to us now. What's good for us? What isn't good for us? What's going to serve us for the future? What's only going to serve this present? And everything we do it as masterfully as you can. Here we have honesty. this being here is emphasizing the need for clear communications and straight dealings and truth and representation, that we need to be scrupulously honest here, making sure that there are no room for confusion or misunderstandings. Make sure that all written and verbal agreements are completely clear, and assumptions may not be well understood by all parties, as we are assuming, and they need to be tested for comprehension. So sometimes maybe some of us have a tendency to assume that other people know what they did or what we expect them to do, and this is reminding us to be clear about those things. And it goes hand in hand with the other reading we got 2 days ago, where we were being reminded in this, I believe, same position, not to take on the responsibilities of others. This is reminding us to be honest about those things, be honest about our boundaries, be honest about where we're coming from. And also ask ourselves if we're being honest with ourselves, because we might think that we are, but sometimes we might be deceiving ourselves in some way. Sometimes this can come forth in repression. We might be repressing different things. We might deny things. We might be projecting. And when we are coming from a place like that, we end up creating confusion within ourselves, which can also lead to anxiety and even behaviors that we might not want to behave in, such as maybe behaving with unfairness or injustice towards others. But it's one thing, we can stop ourselves oftentimes. We also need to be mindful that we aren't being unfair to ourselves. That's what I'm feeling here. I'm feeling that some of us maybe weren't being honest with ourselves about different things. And it might not be something bad like, oh, you bad person, and you're not being honest with yourself about that. I mean, if that is the case, then that's the case. But maybe for some of us that isn't the case. Maybe it's a case of, hey, you're a better person than you thought you were. Stop blaming yourself, stop shaming yourself, stop all of that that's keeping you down, that you're keeping yourself down with, because you will be wise to look at yourself honestly, because you may find that the person that you see is not as bad as the person that you thought you might have been. Here is interesting. We have 48 and 49 here. This is reminding us to go about our tasks merrily. This is also reminding us to be playful about the things that we have to do. But not only is this card reminding us to be playful and have fun with what we're doing, kind of like what the collective of pixies was telling us, but this in reversed, it can signify that we might have been clinging to unrealistic notions about security, such as we were clinging to the known path. Maybe we were rejecting the adventure that this new unknown is bringing to us. And straight up, Mikkel says, don't let yourself do that, please. Let me get that clear. There we go. He wants us to be playful about the things that we do, but he also wants us to be willing to answer the call to adventure. If any of you are familiar with The Hobbit and that story, he didn't want to go on his adventure. He wanted to stay in the Shire. Bilbo was totally cool with living in his very, very comfortable home and staying there, but he had a call to adventure arrive in the form of a wizard. And he didn't deny that call of adventure in the end. He ended up going forth with it. And what an adventure it was. This Muckle is reminding us to go ahead and take this adventure. Be merry about it. Here we have the Topsy Turvets. This is oftentimes signifying a... Let me get that. Perspective change. I feel like we've seen this before. I'll have to confirm by looking at the readings again, but I'm pretty sure that we've seen this before. Maybe some of us were looking at the tasks that we have to do this week in a very heavy-hearted way. Maybe some of us are already regretful that we have to do these things at all. And this is all here to, hey, take a fresh perspective on it. Be merry about what you're doing. With all of this that's coming in, discern what's going to serve you in the long run in the best possible way for the highest of all good. Go about everything that you are going about in the best way you possibly can. Be honest with yourself especially not just others, but be honest with yourself and have fun. Not just have fun, but don't let yourself cling to the known path. Answer the call to adventure. Okay, wow, what a way to start this week. Thank you, fairies, angels, and ancestors. Will you please give us some emphasis or whatever you have to add to our reading today? Thank you, angels and ancestors. What do you have to add to our fairy wing reading for this morning? Okay. The arrow, look. It's like it's going here this way. The arrow, to surround ourselves with protective energy. So this, I feel, is really interesting with how it's telling us, okay, so maybe some of us have to do tasks that we were unsure of doing, and yet here we're being reminded to go about things happily, merrily, yes, honestly, masterfully, with discernment, with a fresh perspective, protect ourselves. Because as we're moving into this new chapter, and not to scare anyone or anything like that at all, but to remind us that as we're moving into this new chapter, sometimes our light might not be well received by others, especially if they're coming from a place of willing or self blindness and darkness. They might not appreciate our light that we bring forth. This is reminding us to surround ourselves with protective energies. Well, this is interesting. And at the bottom of the deck, we have summer, to bask in joy and light. So as we are coming into honesty with ourselves, having fun, answering the call to adventure, having all of these new ideas, going about things masterfully with a fresh perspective, and protecting ourselves, this is reminding us to bask in our joy and light. Put these here. I really like how this all came out. All right, Libras, so as we move forward into this week, let's remind ourselves to allow ourselves that opportunity to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Light has come to banish the darkness. Clarity is arriving, allowing us to know exactly where we are and how we can move forward. This is a time for pleasure, enjoyment, and expansion. It's reminding us not to rush forward. There's a great chance that we have extra energy, creativity, inspiration at this time. It's reminding us to notice what's coming to us, as inspiration directly from the divine is being received by a lot of us right now. So while we bask in our light, let's be sure that we are protecting ourselves. And protecting ourselves doesn't mean that you need to go like buy a bunch of weapons or anything like that. This is more, I feel, telling us to, if things or situations are lowering our energies, make sure that we do what we can to not only bring them up, but if we are able to remove ourselves from those situations or from around those people that maybe just be being petty or saying things or doing things that bring us down, or maybe whenever we're around them for some reason the conversations tend to go away that doesn't lift us forward. That's another way to protect your energy, where it's like, okay, I get that you want to gossip about whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and just go back to whatever I'm doing or whatever. That's just an example. I feel like I'm not sure why that came through, but I feel like somebody might have needed that. So I wish you all the best. This is a great week for us. I look forward to seeing this all unfold, and I wish you all a very wonderful rest of your day.